Hey folks, welcome to Deer Corner. Welcome to the shop again. Still raining. You can hear it hitting the tin roof. And I'm on another honeydew project. While it's raining, I can't get out and do anything outside, but I'm going to knock these things out. And years back, the wife picked up a article, and she wants to get it cleaned up, painted up, and put on the hearth of the fireplace, and she thought it would look nice there. So a happy wife is a happy life. So let me just show you what I got and what we're going to be doing. And here it is. Now this is a fuel oil can, and it was made between 1900 and 1910. And it was manufactured by Davis Manufacturing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. There's a lot of history on these cans right here. Now, this one here, after 1910, they changed the lids on them. Now this lid here is cast iron. The lids they changed to were punched out tin. And newer cans also had 5 gallons stamped on them. But these have a brass tag welded on, or brazed on. Now when you're purchasing these, you got to be careful, because back then they used a lead brazing, and you can't get lead brazing no more. It's all silver solder. So if you find one with a tag and the braze is real shiny, they just put the tag on. But there's a lot of history behind this can. Now that tag says 5 gallons to the lip of marked inside. Now there's a mark inside, and actually that mark comes with this little story. That mark's also a hook for the fill hose. Now this is manufactured for Standard Oil. And back in the days, Standard Oil would not fill anybody's can but their own. And you would go in and have this can filled for 7 cents. But then they would charge you 2 cents for the use of their can, because you did not own the can. So you'd pay 9 cents. And it's supposed to hold 5 gallons. Well, it does hold 5 gallons. But the way they filled them, they take the top off, they stick the hose in there, which had almost a foot-long piece of steel pipe, and it would go down and hook on this hook on the inside the fill line. And when they filled it in front of the customer, they'd fill it up to that hook, that fill line. The customer would go, okay, no problem. But when the customer went to pay, when they took that hose out of there, you only ended up with 4 gallons and 9 tenths. The tenths of a gallon was the fill hose. And the customer would go on home. A lot of people caught that, some people didn't. So you got to sit and figure about back then Standard Oil got away with filling 10 of these. They actually remanufactured a whole gallon of fuel oil and sold it back to the public. Now this is a solid handle, and it's welded on. But these are your pricey ones. These are your pricey oil cans. Usually the tops on them, your ones that were made after 1910, the handles are different. They have a different handle. And you can't get the top on them because they were made out of tin, not steel, so they would rust. and you end up with a can. But this is your most price, because it was owned by Standard Oil back in the days. But I'm going to go ahead and put it back here in old blue, sandblast it, and keep an eye on it, because that sandblaster, believe me, I put something in there before, forgot about it, and come back, and it pretty well chewed it to nothing. But I'm going to go ahead and put this in the sandblaster, clean it up, paint it up, and we'll just see how this comes out. I hate to do it, because believe it or not, it's worth more like this than cleaning it up and painting it. So, but I'm not worried about that. I know she wants to put it on the hearth by the fireplace, so I'm going to go ahead and get it done and knock this project out. But meanwhile, while that's in there getting cleaned up, let's talk a little bit about game cameras and deer traps. Now, I'm not sure, 15, 16 years old, whether I came up with the idea or my brother. And this is a little trick that we use, and I haven't passed on. My son knows about it, he's doing it. But if you're using game cameras, oh, you need a bunch of them. I think I got 11 or 12 of them out right now. But the time of year and your placement of a camera, you can always move one the wrong time, because deer do move according to their feed. Now, your does pretty well stay the same pattern all year, but feed will make her change her pattern. But when you're out scouting and you find an area, or you find a trail, and that deer is walking that trail, and you look down and you see deer tracks, and are they old or are they new? But I don't know, I'll give my brother credit for it, but we use a rock situation. And what I mean by that, I always carry rocks in my pocket. Now, one's granite and one's sandstone. Now, if I come to a deer track, deer trail, and that deer is going to the right of me, I put the sandstone down in that track. If the deer on that trail is going to the left of me, I'll put the granite rock in that track. Now, your average deer, your average mature deer, will put a footstep in a 2.5 by 2.5 square area. So you have to picture a 2.5 by 2.5 square. That way you're not putting a rock in the same track done by the same deer the same day. And preferably, you're wanting to look for tracks going both directions. You will find area where the deer is going or coming from an area and going one direction. So I do it today because I don't have enough game cameras to cover everything. And what I do is go out, and when I go to these areas and I find them, and I take my square and I put the rock in a track in that square of which way that deer's traveling, to my right or to my left. And over a period of time, over a period of summer, you keep going to that area and you're looking, and you keep putting your rocks out there. Now, before deer season, this is where my brother and I finally figured out how to do this. We would move our deer stands to that area, to that path or that location where that 2.5-foot square would actually have enough stones in them to look like a graveled road. And that's a fact. The deer would go back and forth. And the more times they go back and forth, the more stones you put in their trap. And that way, you're not looking at the same track from the previous day or the previous week. And we would judge by how many stones were in that path of that deer traveling to where we would drag our wooden deer stands that weighed about 200 pounds. There were some heavy deer stands back then, boy, and put them up. But the wife would laugh about it and bring it up every time, here and there. I have some of the cleanest rocks there are because she washed many of my rocks that I keep in my pocket. Went through the laundry. But that's just a little trick I use that we taught each other how to do. And the good thing about it, during the rain, the storm, during the snow, the tracks get covered up, but the stones are still there. So you can still see the stones, which is the previous track that you marked. And you know that they're going right or you're going left. So you're using that trail going back and forth. And how heavy you're using that trail. But this is just a little trick. Like I said, I don't know who come up with it. Myself and my brother. But by golly, it works. And it's better than a game camera because you don't have to move it. And you just walk up and look down to see the deer going this way or that way. But that's just a little trick I use that I'm going to pass on. And it's old school. Because we didn't have game cameras back then. We didn't even know what a game camera was. They weren't even thought about yet. So, this is a little old school trick. And I'm going to bring quite a few old school tricks up, such as this. So, you're going out in the woods, you're scouting, like my brother and I, we were always in the woods. We were always in the woods. And we always carried rocks in our pocket. And I still do today. I still carry 2 rocks. A sandstone and a granite rock in my pocket when I go to the woods. So, I'm going to go ahead, we're going to let this thing sandblast. And I'm going to go ahead and bring it back, clean it up, wipe it down, get it painted, and be done with it. Okay, got it out of old blue. Sandblasted did pretty good. Not quite a bit of it off. I didn't want to leave it much longer. Started blowing holes through it. So, pretty smooth. Old blue. An old sandblaster. And has a turntable in it. You put your stuff on it, turn it on, it rotates. Knock all that rust off of it. So, I'm going to go ahead and get a coating on it. Should be able to finish up. Alright. And again, this has got a lot of pits in it from the age. Let's see if you can get a shot on this. But it's a truck bed coating. You get it at most of your automotive stores. And a lot of your major automotive stores carry it. And it's very durable, especially for outdoor furniture. And as pitted as this is, it'll cover up a lot of it. So, we'll go ahead and spray it down. Let that tack coat tack up and put another coat on. Put a light coat. Just a light tack coat, that's all you need first go around. Then I'll let that sit, become tacky, and put another coat on it, and it will be done. But then it's something how, just 2 stones, a piece of granite and a piece of sandstone can improve your hunting. And you can pick these up on the side of the road. Don't cost you nothing. That's a little trick that my brother and I picked up. And like I said, I don't know who came up with it, him or me. But we've been doing it. I've been doing it ever since. But this little project's about to come to an end. And turned out rather nice. Turning something old into something new, putting it back to use. I think she's wanting to put the fireplace utensils down in it instead of the stand that we got. So, you get it, just let it dry. It just gets tacky. It sets up real quick. Tack it, just tacky where it won't leave a print. And then come back and hit it again. Now the stuff's thick now. You don't want to wait too long, you get a big run. If you get a run, you won't be able to sand it off. You got to be really quick with it. And there you go. I'll let this sit up overnight and mark this honeydew off the list too. I think she'll be quite pleased about it. 1900s fuel oil can, back in use. But thanks for coming along. And quit raining, sun actually came out, might get some yard mowed. But I'll be heading to the woods tomorrow and do some trimming. And like I say, when you're in the woods, be safe. Rather be safe than sorry. Things do happen. And things can happen. So thanks for coming along. Go ahead and subscribe. Leave me a comment. I'll get back with you. And you all have a good day.